Hello there everyone, and welcome to another round of me talking to myself. So I thought that I would answer a lot of questions around my diagnosis, like how I got diagnosed, how long it took me to get diagnosed, symptoms I had. There's always a lot of questions that people have about that, and it's kind of a long story, so I thought I would answer that story by going over my chart from when I first got diagnosed. So this is kind of thick, as you can see. It's definitely not as thick as my chart from when I started going to children's, but I think as far as this was all less than a month, so it was a lot of in and out. So fasten your seatbelts. We're gonna go through this. I've vaguely been through this, just looking over, making sure everything was in the right dates, and then I read over some of it, but I didn't sit down and read through all of it, so apologies if this is a little wonky. Okay, so it starts on let's see, admit date was February 8th, 2011. And I remember we went in because we thought I had strep throat. I had strep throat a month or two prior to this, so I knew what it felt like, and we just thought that I had got it again. So we went in to try, it was 22:57, so what is that, 10:57 at night? We went in. I had been sick for a couple of days, so we decided to go into the emergency room. Obviously, we couldn't go into the doctor's office because it's too late. So the first page, so it just goes over, chief complaint is sore throat with a fever. We just totally thought it was strep throat. It says it had been going on for about 2 days. Fever, chills, sore throat, cough, swollen glands, relieved by nothing. It says I appear well but anxious, which is obvious because, sore throat, hospital. It says no jaundice and no, I don't know what that word says. I can't read doctor handwriting. You would think I'd be able to after these many years. But yeah, it just says basically, it looks like I'm sick. So what did they do? They took a CBC, they did a monospot and a strep screen. So at this point, they're testing me for mono and for strep, and then they're just looking at my blood. And then it says clinically the impression, it looks like tonsillitis or hepatitis. And I do know, I don't know if it goes over this, but I do know that I was eventually diagnosed with hepatitis at this point. But it was not a viral hepatitis. This was due to my immune system attacking my liver, which is, just shows that it does attack my organs. So let's see. So then this just goes over again, seeing everything that they did, what they prescribed me. It looks like I was on codeine for the pain. It wasn't straight codeine. It was, I think it was cough syrup with codeine, Zofran and amoxicillin. And then they did that blood work. And then this, I think this was just the other thing, but this just goes over my weight and blood pressure and all of that. And I did notice earlier, I'm not sure if it was on this page or a different page, my blood pressure. I can't find it, but it does say on this page that now I'm vomiting. I believe at this point I was vomiting blood. That was happening a lot, which was part of the reason we ended up going to the emergency room, because vomiting blood is not good. Yes, it's urgent. Thank you very much. Yeah, right here it says my blood pressure is 128/64. So normal blood pressure is 120/60, so it's already slightly elevated. I have really low blood pressure. I'm usually in the 110/50 something. So my blood pressure is really, really low. So for this, it was really high. So then this was just my discharge, saying what they sent me home on: amoxicillin, the cough medicine with codeine, and the Zofran. And they believe I have pharyngitis, hepatitis, and the narcotic medication, but I don't have that. That's just what they were telling me. So then I get my blood work back. This came back on the 8th, so this would have been the same day. Blood work says my RDWs were low. I don't know what that means. Neutrophil were elevated a lot. Lymphocyte is down a lot. And then my AST and ALT are both elevated. I don't know what that means. I knew what neutrophils and lymphocytes are. So that obviously just shows that there's like an infection. And then this, okay, so this they sent back. I got this the next day from my primary care physician, and it says my flu test and my rapid strep test both came back negative. And on one of these papers I must have missed it, it also says that my mono test came back negative. So at this point, all they know that I have for sure is laryngitis, which is just an inflammation at the throat, and hepatitis. Okay, so then this says, okay, so I'm in my primary care physician on April 16th, so about a week later, and I do remember at this point, my strep was definitely getting, strep was getting better. I didn't feel as sick. I wasn't throwing up blood. I was feeling a lot better. I had already been out of school at this point for, I want to say, a week and a half, 2 weeks, and I was feeling a lot better. And I remember vividly my mom coming home from work or the grocery store or wherever she had been, and she pulls in, and I went downstairs to greet her, which I hadn't done in like a week. And she was like, "Oh, are you feeling better?" "Yeah, Mom, I'm feeling a lot better, except I have this bug bite on my back that's been really itching me." "Oh, well, let me see." So I turn around, and it's not a bug bite, it's a hive, and my entire back is just covered with raised red hot hives. So we go to the doctor. So this was on April 16th, as I said, and it says started with a sore throat and vomiting on 4/8, was given penicillin, codeine, and Zofran, followed up a few days later for swollen throat. That has resolved. Excuse me, ma'am. But yesterday she developed an itchy hive-like rash on the trunk and has spread to the limbs. Last dose of PCN was yesterday AM. She has been taking the codeine daily and took it yesterday AM and PM. Zofran she has not taken for several days. And then it's just allergy medication. So yeah, that's, so my BP here, 102/60. So that's a lot more normal for me. Like I said, a really low blood pressure, so that's way more normal for me. And then this is just appearance. It says basically all they notice is the rashes noted that diffuse in location and worse on the trunk. The color is mainly salmon. It is best characterized as urticarial and exorated. I'm probably not saying any of these words right, so I apologize. So what basically they told me to do is probably an allergic reaction to one of the medications that they put me on. So they told me to stop taking all medications, to use topical Benadryl and hydrocortisone, and then to start the medications back one at a time to see which one of them I was having an allergic reaction to. And then within 3 days, I was to call if my hive did not go away. My hives didn't go away. They got worse, and then I started developing joint pain. So on 4/18, so this was 2 days, 16, 17, 18, yeah, 2 days later, we go back to the emergency room. We went in at about 8 in the morning. At this point, my feet were so swollen I could not walk. It hurt to put pressure on my feet. My hands were swollen. I couldn't hold a pencil. I was supposed to be doing schoolwork at home. Couldn't hold a pencil. I couldn't move my arms. It was like I was like the Tin Man. And when I did move, or if someone tried to move me, it was extreme pain. I just couldn't do anything. So we went to the emergency room. Okay, so this says severe pain all over, that I was on codeine. It says that they noticed I was in severe distress, tenderness in my abdomen, my skin was pale. That's just rude. My skin's always pale. And then it goes over the history of my recent emergency visits, and then it says that I was an emergent case. Let's see, what does it go over here? What I'm on, that they did a lab draw. That's pretty much all this one says. Nothing super interesting there. These are the notes that they took. My mom basically demanded that they keep me overnight just for observation, if nothing else. She was not going to take me home until they figured out what was going on. If nothing else, they needed to hold me and give me painkillers because I was in extreme amounts of pain. So it says, mother remains at bedside, ambulated to bathroom, obtained, I don't know what these say. Oh, they attained a sample. Drinking water. My dad was at the bedside. This is at 10:40. Now my dad's at the bedside. At 11:30, I stated that my pain was getting better and the rash was decreasing, but it was probably coming back. And then it says at 12:15, SED rate 46, emotional support given. So SED rate is what they test when you have I don't know if it's all autoimmune diseases, actually. I'm not positive, but I do know it is for arthritis. And like the kind of arthritis I have, you want to check the SED rate. And we were kind of pissed that they hadn't done it by that point, but they finally started to check my SED rate. And at that point, what's next? Okay, so then it's talking about my pain, and all the pain that they're noticing in every joint is severe. The hives are still there. They finally noticed, they asked my mom about her history. My mom does have an autoimmune arthritis. Hers is not as severe as mine. She does not have an official diagnosis, but it's basically been confirmed by all the doctors. Yeah, you have an autoimmune arthritis. They finally asked her about this and figured, okay, well, you've got autoimmune disease in your family, something's going on. So then at this point, these are just more clinical impressions, what they see out of me, that I am distressed, obviously, because I was in pain. And then we had a really great doctor at this point who basically confirmed that I probably had an autoimmune disease and that he didn't know how to treat that, partially because I was 13, but also because he was not a specialist in autoimmune diseases. So he pointed out that I probably had an autoimmune disease and that I need to be taken to a different hospital. He was really, really great. Unfortunately, though, at this point, they switched shifts and a different doctor came in. And he did not feel the need to send me to a different doctor. So they gave me prednisone. They gave me some painkillers. Prednisone is a steroid. It's the one that I'm most often on. They gave me some painkillers, did the blood work, and then sent me home the next day. The blood work that they did was urinalysis. They were testing my kidney function. All of that came back negative. Everything was fine there because, you know, my kidneys were fine. Liver, my heart, my brain, not so much. This is another blood test that they did at that. Neutrophil and lymphocytes. Neutrophil, once again, super up. Lymphocytes, super down. They tested my ESR, super high, double what they should be. Like I said, I don't know what a lot of this means. If you're someone who knows a lot about hematology, you know, tell me what I'm saying. I know what some of them are, but, you know. Okay, and then they did a CRP, highly sensitive, super high, which is, hey, autoimmune. And then April 18th, this was the afternoon that I had been in the hospital. And same thing, joint pain severe. They noticed in psychiatric that I looked depressed. I was in a lot of pain. Yeah, I was depressed. And then they prescribed more painkillers. And the mitral. And then this is what they sent to my doctor. So the ER sent all of this over to my doctor to let her know what was going on. And then my mom called the doctor the next day, told her that they had taken me to the ER, still breaking out with a rash. Okay, so I figured it out now. I know what's going on. I'm missing a page. So basically what happened is the morning that I just read, we went in that morning to the ER because of the rash and the joint pain was so severe. They discharged us. And then we called the doctor, my primary physician called the doctor, tell her we wanted an appointment for that afternoon. And then we ended up canceling that appointment and going back to the ER. And I don't have the paperwork from that overnight stay. But that night was the night that they kept me overnight for observation. Yeah, I don't know why I don't have the paperwork from that, but it was the same day. We went in that morning, and that's when the doctor said you have an autoimmune disease, and then switched shifts, and then they sent me home. We made an appointment with my primary care physician, and then later that day went back into the ER. So my mom called my primary doctor to let her know that we were just going back to the ER. And it says, Mom called and said they had to take Elena to the ER now as she's still breaking out with the rashes and cannot hardly walk or move one of her arms. Mom said they are doing some blood tests and that the ER said she may want to see a rheumatologist. I talked to Dr. Hall about starting a referral, and she said she would be happy to, but let's see what the labs show first, as this may not be the specialist that she needs. It was the specialist I needed. Okay, and then it goes over abnormal laboratory test findings without diagnosis. So same thing that they had been telling us for weeks now, was they had no idea what was going on with me, but something bad is happening. And then at this point, we get a call from the insurance saying they had gotten a referral from my doctor. They had set me up an appointment at Children's Hospital Madeira. This was the date and time, and that's when I needed to be there. I cannot stress this enough. This call was from the insurance. They were the ones that called my mom and said, go take your daughter to the hospital now. The insurance. So I get the referral to rheumatology for elevated CRP with multiple painful joints, severe pain. Also generalized urticarial rash, recent URI, and mother with non-specific autoimmune arthritis. So I get to Children's Hospital. This would have been on April 22nd, 2011. This is the date of diagnosis. So I show up at my appointment. They told me to throw out all of my old medication. I don't need any of that anymore. They put reason for visit as polyarthritis. They knew right away I have arthritis. So they give me prednisone, lansoprazole, Zofran, and indomethacin. I am actually not on any of that medication currently. I take it when I flare, but on a day-to-day basis, I no longer take that. My discharge summary, this is when they diagnosed me systemic juvenile arthritis. At the time, it was a rheumatoid arthritis. Now it is known as idiopathic arthritis because they don't know the cause of it. It states, this is a previously healthy 13-year-old female from Tatchby spelled wrong, who was admitted on April 23rd, 2011 for diffuse pain throughout body and difficulty walking. She was previously seen at OSH, ESR was 48, and started on prednisone packet. She was then referred to rheumatology clinic where her pain was noted to be very poorly controlled. She had dermatographia and needed a wheelchair for immobilization. Upon admission to the Children's Hospital, she was started on a dose of solumedrol, 1,500 milligrams IV daily for 3 days. It's a lot of steroids, as well as scheduled indomethacin. Her joint pain significantly improved and she started mobilizing the day after admission. She has been steadily improving since then. Steroids, those steroids are magic. They are the most amazing thing. You know, you just pump someone full of them and then the next day they're walking. It's amazing what those things do. My discharge, I was on a diet with regular diet, but with minimum sweets because I was on so much steroids, so many steroids. It can mess with your ability to create insulin. So I had to do blood tests, you know, the insulin tests. I'm sorry, all you diabetics out there, I don't know what it's called. I was doing that for probably close to a year. I was not taking insulin or anything like that. I just had to watch my blood sugar. That's what it's called. Just had to watch my blood sugar. And then I was to follow up in the rheumatology within 2 to 4 weeks. And then they gave me info on my disease, which was super cool. Oh, whoa. I didn't read this before. Okay, so this was while I was in there, they did a ultrasound because, as I've stated before, one of the big things with arthritis, my autoimmune arthritis, is that it can attack the organs. So they were really concerned about that. And it said that there was debris or sediment layering my bladder, floaters in my gallbladder, non-visualization of the appendix, and then everything else seemed normal. My heart, they said it was normal. I do know when I was admitted, they said it was normal, however, it was close to being abnormal. So they basically said I was really lucky I came in when I did. And yeah, and then I was discharged. And yeah, that was me getting diagnosed. So between the first ER visit and the day I got diagnosed was, math. That's too much pressure. Oh my gosh. Over 15 days, I want to say. It was a while, you know, and in my mom's in my head, we always remember it as being months and months because it felt like forever and it was so stressful. But it was about 15 days between my first ER visit and my date of diagnosis. So hopefully this cleared up any questions you might have about my diagnosis. I know this was a really long video and I apologize for that. But yeah, hopefully this cleared everything up. And if there are any questions about what I went through when I got diagnosed, anything like that, anything that I didn't go over, please don't hesitate to ask. Also, I did not get a new tattoo. This is henna, just so you know. All right, thanks, bye.